Yeah, Vishek, you can hear me, right? Hello.
Yeah, am I audible? Yeah.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's start then. Okay. Yeah. So let's hide this one. Okay. So like today we have a couple of things. One is how to expose REST API. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see after this, like we will see like how to transform one data to another, like CSV to JSON, okay, JSON to XML, okay. So the first one is the REST API, like you might be knowing like the REST API is something like we expose some endpoint using HTTP protocol, right? So like this is something like kind of microservice where we generally send some message, okay, to consume or produce the resources. Okay, so there are various way to develop REST API. Okay, the one of I'm going to cover is a Restlet in Camel. So the other one is Apache CXF. Okay, so CXF is also popular, and this one is also nowadays becoming popular actually. Okay, so like if you are using Restlet component from Camel, okay, and you have to expose some REST endpoint. Okay, so first of all, you need to include the dependency in pom.xml. That is called this one, org.apache.camel. It's a group ID. Then artifact ID, you need to include like this. So, and this one is the artifact ID, camel Restlet starter. As we are using Spring Boot, right? So the starter should be there for that component. So like generally, whatever the component you are going to use, you need to include that starter in your form.xml, and the version specific to the your camera. Okay, and yeah. So this is the sample URI format. Like this is the first of all will be Restlet component will come. Like you any endpoint you want to expose, right? So the component name should be first, and after colon you provide your URL, your HTTP URL. Okay, and the question mark option is something like it's option to provide. Okay, let's say any header you want to pass. Uh, uh, okay, so those things headers you can pass over here. Headers or parameter or any named value parameter from database also you can pass. Yeah, and okay, so URL, how you are, already like HTTP, this protocol is HTTP, right? And colon your host name, it's a local host. And you have exposed on port number 8080. So HTTP colon// localhost colon 8080 slash will be resource pattern. So resource pattern is something like you can give your project name. Let's say, app one, for example, application one, or so here slash app one and slash anything afterwards you can segregate based on your API development. So slash app one slash get employee details, for example. Okay, so like this you can form the URL actually. The validator, I will show there's a one more component validator. So there's a Camel validator which we will see later. Okay, and yeah. So so this is the one for any RESTlet API, let's say you want to expose some REST endpoint, right? So this is the syntax actually in your root class. Let's say I'm having one class called atom REST service root class. Okay, so in this we definitely to create any root you need to extend root building, right? And it's annotated with the @component and @slf4j. So this is for logging purpose, and this is for bean purpose, right? You are registering your root to the camel context. Okay, so automatically this @component will do for you. This environment is something like we are accessing some variable from environment. Okay, in application properties. These are the other thing which you can ignore as of now. During database handling, we'll explain more in this actually. So this is something like I'm auto-wiring here the data source configuration. Okay, and here below like some processor class I'm using in my root class, right? So that one also you can @auto-wire you can use over here also to use the processor here like this. So but our main thing is this one. So once you extend root builder, you need to override configure method, right? So in this now you have REST. There's a REST method here. REST. So REST of your URL. Okay. So this is something I'm reading from application.properties file. So if you go .application.yaml. So here I have defined all the root actually, all the properties, the API dot version, so v1, right? So what will happen like here v1 will come. So this is for version v1. So I'm here like taking care of versioning /v1/item. Okay. Then root ID, like the root ID is something I'm just denoting. Okay, this is the root I'm creating using REST, and the ID will be this one. And this is the description, like this endpoint I'm going to expose for put URL. Okay, so put URL means wherever you might put URL means going to use put method. Okay, like this. And before that, I want to define, okay, this API, this item API I'm doing, right? So put is something to create or update, right? So I'm going to consume JSON input, application/JSON. And I'm going to produce in both the format like JSON and XML also. So if I consume JSON, I should be able to get the result in JSON and XML format both actually. Okay, and then put is for put endpoint, like after this item I'm appending /create item. Okay, so any endpoint which starts with the create item, it will accept put method in your, maybe if you are using postman or soap UI, so there you need to pass put for this endpoint. The output I'm using generic like a string dot class. So any response will be of type of string actually. Okay, response message, and then code is okay. Like if success or anything, then it's okay, always okay. Response model. You can also define your model class for response. So it's a string only. Okay. So and response message, then root ID, convert body to string, then unmarshal. Okay. So in this only I have encoded unmarshal also, like this will convert. Okay, from your CSV to object actually. It will convert into objects actually. Whatever XML or JSON you are passing, it will convert based on item format. Okay, it will convert actually based on this class. So that and the rest. So this is must actually, and the rest you need to give. So whatever the request is coming from this endpoint, okay. once you accept and convert into object, okay, and you are sending to this endpoint, create item, okay, to create item. So create item, so likewise we have this one, right? So you can include one create item for you. So, so this will go to create item like this, okay. So any questions till now, Abhishek? Have any questions?
And no, only one question. Like you told, dot end and dot rest, and both of them are there, right? So this dot end is for what? Like,
So this end is for your root actually, for this
o-
corresponding root. You're just
okay, okay,
telling, okay, this is the end for this.
okay, okay,
And
okay.
this end rest is you are telling for this
For
rest
the,
actually.
yeah. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is synchronous, right? To direct.
Synchronous, yeah. This is
Mhm.
synchronous. Yeah.
Okay. So, so this, so it's like a rest endpoint is uh, exposed, right? So,
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So the same question, like, um, when we create, we can create a REST service, right? Normally using
Uh-huh.
Spring,
Yeah.
and this
Yes.
is also a REST service, right?
Yes. Yes.
So what is the difference between those two? Like,
Like generally in like what we do like in our Spring applications, we
mhm,
develop a controller, right? REST
mhm,
controller.
yeah,
Inside the REST controller, we write. I have one example which I can show you. The pure Spring Boot REST controller actually. So, for
yeah,
example, this is the one user controller. Let's say. So, what you will do like.
yeah. That I am aware of.
Yeah.
My question is like, what is the difference
So the
between
difference
the?
is like it's giving you just the flexibility instead of
Okay.
writing this much code to expose
Mhm,
at the rate controller and all. You just use
mhm,
the component REST component here Restlet. Okay.
okay.
If you want to consume something, just use Restlet colon and your endpoint.
Okay.
Okay. Like this also you can do. So this
Okay.
is will always accept post actually. So RESTlet to component I told, right? So using RESTlet column, you just give your endpoint, whatever the endpoint you want. Let's say atom slash anything, one, two, three. Okay, so this will get exposed automatically. You are not going to do anything, just you will get one HTTP endpoint for this with method post and you send to pass the message. So it's very flexible, right? Instead of getting this much classes and all,
Mhm,
you are just using Camel component. Internally, it might be doing the same, creating a controller component. Not sure.
okay.
So it's a
Okay.
what is underlying implementation, we don't know. Okay, we need to
Yeah.
say. So that is internal to Camel
Okay.
actually. So yeah, that's a reason Camel become popular. Uh, just one line of code you can write and so one is the
Okay.
REST. This is the REST actually REST example, and this is the
Mhm,
RESTlet example. If you
mhm,
see the official website of Camel, so this
mhm,
one we have REST. There's a REST component to define
okay.
REST endpoints using REST
Mhm,
DSL, and there is a Swagger also. I'm not using, and the next is RESTlet actually.
okay.
So either using REST component or using RESTlet component, you can use actually. Okay. You can use CXF also. So I'm just trying to explain you the difference, uh, what like how you can uh, expose. What are the way possible way like you can expose like. Like sometime what we do the other way, like this is also again using Camel only. But here what I am doing, I'm exposing in CXF. This is using CXF, Apache CXF. Okay. So in this example, what I'm doing in this root class, right? So I have one REST endpoint. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. From this, I'm sending to the next route. That is okay using recipient list. So this REST endpoint, okay, you can see here. I'm just setting here. Okay. Uh, this will be percent. So from here, like the same way, trigger service center. This is so in this I don't have any logic. So that will get the
Mm.
endpoint from the this controller only. Okay,
Okay.
from this service class, and we have one. I'm here. Okay, yeah. So this is something using controller actually. Yeah, I'm not getting here, so you can let it be. So like any question, many more questions you have here. So likewise, we have used put, right, post here. The same way you can use get method. You can use the different method to expose the corresponding endpoint. Like so, mainly for REST API, we use get, put, post, delete, right, and
Okay. Mm.
patch, and patch. So those are the REST methods actually. So like get is something like to fetch the records. Let's say you want to fetch some records, okay, from database. Okay, so you can go for get. Let's say you want to create some resource, means you want to insert some records, item records into your database, you want to create, so you can go for post. And let's say you want to update the existing records or something, so that will you can use for put, you can use put actually. So like put is something like you can use for create also. If it is not there, it will create the resource, and if it is there already, so this will update the records actually. So like in this what happened, like it will not throw any exception. The put won't throw any exception actually, but post will throw the exception actually. So every time you are trying to insert, right, and record is already present, so it will give you record to exist, already exist, but this will not return anything. It will just update and return. Okay, so there's no exception. So for like any bulk operation or something, batch processing, if you're doing using REST API, right? If you're doing any batch processing or something, so better use put method. Okay. And if I am using delete, so it will delete some records from the database. It will delete the resource actually. Okay. So yeah. One second.